And hello everyone, this is Relic Jones, and I'm not here for another yarn and yore. I'm here for a sad tale of a card game that faded into oblivion and then had hope and then faded into oblivion. Yeah, let me get up for a second. Talking about Xeko. So, Xeko started out as a card game to teach kids pretty much about ecosystems and about endangered animals. You actually won the game by how many eco points you had on the board, because you had this gridded board you could slowly move around. Not many had the ability to, but yeah. And the more endangered your animal is, the more points you would have at the end of the game. It was a very interesting card game. It was the only card game at the time that did, as far as I know, like a gridded board. You have these weird color links that help you work up the food chain. Just so many different things. And some of the people that developed it was some of the original people that developed Magic the Gathering. So it has the history there of being really, really good. But there seems to be a downside to it, that it was always focused about conservation, which is good, but it was so focused on conservation, the only place that I could buy these at was going to my local zoo. And if you ever went to a zoo and saw the gift shop, the prices are super steep. So I didn't get that many then, and I'm regretting it now because the card game fell off. It only had 4 sets, even though it was an award-winning game. Sorry, I'm unprepared. I just got back from doing a collection video, and was like, man, this is a good story. And see, it was award-winning. You can see that little award stamp. It was Game of the Year for Creative Child Magazine, whatever that is. I know it's won other awards too. This is in 2007. Oh man, it's over 10 years old, and yeah, yikes. That was the last set. They only had 4 sets, but each set did have a starter deck. Yeah, let's show starter decks like this. It's a wooden deck. Like a deck box. It's absolutely amazing. I actually got some of those a couple years back. People were selling them for only like $5 with some shipping. Now I think it's 40, and all you can get is the starter decks. Good luck finding a booster box or a booster pack. We'll talk about that eventually. So, I believe that a lot of it was the marketing. I could only find it at zoos. You could not go to a Walmart and pick it up. Even though each card said 5% of all the money that they made went to conservation. So it's a limited distribution in a place where people are not thinking, hey, I want to play a card game. No, who goes to the zoo and think, man, what would make the zoo good is if there was a card game that had every animal in it. I did. I love that kind of stuff, but that's beyond me. So I had 4 sets. Let's talk about the 4 sets. And Madagascar. Then it had Costa Rica. And Costa Rica was probably the most amazing set ever, and I did not get much of that either. Indonesia. Indonesia was pretty good, and China was it was on par. It wasn't bad. They were hitting their stride with getting stuff like plant cards working the way they should and stuff like that. They did that with Costa Rica too. A lot of cool stuff. So eventually they had to quit. They couldn't make enough money off of it. They were losing too much money, so the card game died for years. Until I was going online and I saw a video talking about bringing it back. It was a Kickstarter, which scares me sometimes. And they kickstarted the game. And it was talking about how they're kickstarting it so a company will be able to buy the rights and make a digital card game. And this is something I didn't even know at the time. It's like, digital card game, let me look at that. And I have something to show you about that. They had a digital card game from years and years ago. This beats People that may only beat it maybe have been Konami with Yu-Gi-Oh, but it beats Pokemon's one by a long shot. I mean, 2007, I don't think Pokemon had their code cards. They had code cards. You filled in that little combo and you got cards and you played the game completely digitally, which amazes me. Which I got these because later on, after hearing that, I went on eBay and found a large selection of cards, which is the bulk of my collection right now, which was bulk mainly China. I luckily got some Costa Rica because that is a beautiful set. Just absolutely beautiful. But yeah, bought that, probably way too expensive, but now that you can't buy it anywhere, there's no information online about it. But the Kickstarter cleared, but did not clear to get a physical release. That's cool, and this has been probably over 5 years ago. And the company Oomba, maybe I'll do my due diligence and put the image here, Oomba was talking about, we want to be able to make a platform in which you can buy and sell digital goods safely. No, they eventually stopped. It was bought by one of the co-founders of Atari, which made Chuck E. Cheese, and he pretty much used all the money, refunded it, to start a tournament-based website. It was a website for video game tournaments and some card game tournaments, like Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh, stuff like that. Nothing special for Xeko. They completely gave up their digital format thing because it was broken. They had like a test of it, which you gotta, it's like Yokai Watch with the cranks. It was literally a gotcha game with no game involved. And you could bust it. You could break the game. You're supposed to only be able to click it once a day, and you got a little character, and it was a digital collectible. Well, you could press that button multiple times. And the rarest one was like a D&D guy. Not D&D, Magic the Gathering. It's a Magic the Gathering dude. And I actually got a hold of him because I could click the button multiple times. So the whole system for digital collectible was busted. They didn't have the coding for it. But they never delivered with Xeko. And to this day, as far as I know, they never delivered Xeko. There were over $10,000. Not 10,000, 100,000, over $100,000 donated, and no one got what they wanted. The guy just refunded all the money to start, I guess, like, I don't know, Smash Brothers tournaments, how to, like the roster and how you do a round robin. Those are forms of tournament play, if you don't know. But yeah. And because of that, websites went down where you would buy Xeko went down. Zeko's original site went down, which had their own computer games and stuff like that. It was very kid-oriented, but the card game was pretty fun. And now I can even go online and try to look up something like the Chinese giant salamander Xeko card on Google. Nothing. Nothing. I find it odd when Google can't get me what I'm looking for. It's falling into oblivion, and hopefully my channel will have some of the only content on YouTube documenting and recording this fallen card game, which I tend to gravitate towards these dead and forgotten games. Stuff like that. In the Zatch Bell card game, I had some stuff up. So this is just Relic Jones reminiscing about the rise and fall of Xeko. Good gaming.